Hello and welcome to the London Bulls podcast with me, Tom. My good friend KD is with me as ever. KD, how are you?
Um, I'm feeling all right, mate. I'm feeling all right.
Good lad.
Actually, if I'm honest, I'm feeling a bit, still sore after that last game. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Feeling a
It's
bit deflated,
it's
you know.
it's a tough one to take, isn't it? It is a tough one to take. But we're not alone today. We are joined by Reg Reynolds. A lot of people obviously will know Reg from just being around the ground and doing the away days and buses and just generally the man. How are you, Reg? You well, mate?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well,
Enjoying the
look,
sun. Enjoying the sun.
yeah, well, this is it. It's very, very warm at the moment, and I've decided to put a long sleeve top on just because it's M&M Sports. So I don't know. If I pass out because of heat exhaustion, then you know why. So we'll obviously we will get on to what's happening in this last few days. It's yeah, it's a tough one. I suppose we may as well start with the M&M Sports deal. So, how does everyone feel about that? Obviously, the stadium being renamed and them now supplying the kit. So, does much change, Reg? Do you think it's a good thing for the club?
Yeah, absolutely. The last time they were involved, I think it's 2002 with Graham Turner.
Hmm.
Uh, Things took off when M&M came on board, shirt sales, and all of a sudden, Mr. Turner worked miracles sort of 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6 back in the league.
Hmm.
And, is naming the ground, giving the rights, I bring some coffers in the bank.
Hmm.
I think shirt sales will increase massively. I won't say nothing about the sizes and what we've had recently, but what you've got on your back there, and what we all used to wear with Sun Valley on the front, and regardless, um, the shirt sales were a lot more than what they are now.
Hmm.
You got a particular favorite kit, Reg? One that stood out for you?
Yeah, 100%. 1976 to 1978. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
brilliant, brilliant, brilliant kit. That's traditional Hereford and our proper colours.
Hmm.
And you've seen a lot over that time, but what we want to ask you, Reg, is, where did the love affair begin for you? How did you
Oh,
end up supporting the club we all love? How did it all happen?
okay. My dad was from Wales. My mum from near Bromyard. They got together. Ended up waiting for a house. From Hereford to Malvern. Moved on to Oakmere caravan site while they were waiting for a house here in Malvern, and they lived next door to Cyril Wood. Cyril Wood was our current at the time half-time draw seller for Hereford, so he was very much in the mould of some of the Husk guys that sell a 50-50. So, and he was really, really well known around the club. He was Mr. Hereford United at the time, like Cyril Wood, and he was big mates with Don Cook, which is Leon's dad,
Hmm.
and also John Powell, who was a steward of the club at the time, and big old Jock on the door. He used to give us all grief. He had a voice box, and lovely bloke. Used to get a clip round the heads. It doesn't matter how old you were, in skinheads then. We all used to get a clip if you abused him. And basically, um, my dad lived next door to Cyril. Started taking me, and I went to my first game age 6. Not that I can remember a lot. I've got to be honest. I did go to the first ever league game, which was a 3-0 win against Reading. I can't remember much. I don't really, really remember a hell of a lot until I was probably about 10, 1975, 76. Obviously, that was epic season.
Hmm.
But prior to that, it was almost a blur because obviously we weren't allowed to, nobody, youngsters, we didn't stand in the meadow and we weren't allowed.
Hmm.
So I used to stand behind the goal at the Blackfriars end. which is next to the away fans, which is supposedly a lot safer than going in the meadow end with all the blokes with the bevers and whatever, yeah. And I used to stand half a goal's width from Andy Boucher. And little did I know, obviously, me and Boucher became really big mates as we got older.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, obviously, that's what do we know, 50 years since you started going properly, and obviously a lot of games in that time, a lot of memories, a lot of good things, bad things in between. But what would you, if you had to pick a game, what's your favourite ever Hereford game?
Definitely Hereford 1, Arsenal 1.
Oh, nice.
Saturday, the 5th of January, 1985. Absolutely unbelievable. Because Arsenal at the time, Charlie Nicholas, first ever £5 million player, England riddled with internationals, England internationals and other international. Arsenal were like massive, and Hereford were fourth division perennial strugglers, and we drew 1-1. We won't talk about the replay, but at the time, they said they were sort of, I think they said 15,777 were in the ground. I think if you stuck another 5,000 on top of that, I reckon you'd be somewhere near it.
You go to the replay, Reg, in Highbury?
Unfortunately, yeah, I was on one of the trains that got there sort of half time. It was all over by then by the shouting. I think off the top of my head, I think Ollie Kearns and Mal Paget scored, I think. And we lost 7-2, obviously. So, yeah, it was. But the replay, I don't know whether we played from the 5th of January. I think the replay was about 3 weeks later on it, or something like that.
Yeah.
Quite a time. Quite a gap.
Speaking of travel, Reg, you're well known for the Hereford away days, a really amazing service you set up. When did you set that up then, and how did that all come about? What made you want to kind of do that?
I don't know. I didn't. I'll be honest. Like as a youngster, when I used to go, I used to sort of turn up, and you got on a bus, and you got to a service station, and they were always dodgy, and when you were young. I'm going back like 80s. Even if you travelled on the train, it was dangerous. Hooliganism was at its height. It was chaos back then. Everybody would admit that if you were around then. That's why the crowds were so small. You were taking your life in your hands some weeks to go to some places.
Crazy.
If you wore a shirt on a train and you got invaded by whoever, like you might get battered, or it was like that. So. When you're nearly 60, I think you just want a bit of comfort. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to go and have a bit of meal, a few pints for the game. Look after everybody. Make sure everybody gets there safe there and back. And basically have a good day out as well. Sometimes it's spoilt by the football,
especially supporting Hereford. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, obviously, we'd like to give it a bit of a shout out. So, what's the best way of booking with you during the season, Reg?
I only use Facebook. I only use and basically, everybody who knows me and I know them, we have an understanding. We have all sorts of people go. I can't even tell you who likes to travel. There is obviously a minibus load every week, regardless of what the score is, where we go, what we do. And that advances obviously when you just have the last few games like we've just had.
Yeah. Obviously well known for your trips to Toby Carvery on those journeys. How have you sort of seen the away followings change over time? Is it still just? I mean, obviously you just sort of spoke really different sort of people, different ages, but have you found that that's changed? Did it used to just be young lads, or is it always been quite a good mix?
No, I don't reckon. No, I mean when I first I used to travel on a train when I was young, or jump the train if you want the truth. All right, it was easier to get on the train then and hide in the toilets without a ticket and all the rest of it. All that to hitchhike, and there was probably one coach from the club when we were on the way down, so late 70s, early 80s. It was the same folks on the bus week in, week out sort of thing. When you're young and you're paying a couple of quid getting on there, nobody'd speak to you. It was quite, and there weren't many youngsters went there, not away. It weren't like now, no, nothing like it. Completely different.
What's been like the toughest away that you've done? Like, what's been a logistical nightmare? Like one that really sticks out for you? You're like, God, I don't want to do that one again.
But the worst definitely was this season, without a doubt. The Tuesday night to South Shields was ridiculous. Yeah, I got home about 4 o'clock a.m. Yeah. I think that, when you look at our league, really, there should be a north, south, and a central, to be quite honest. The travelling is ludicrous, really. When we're all talking about financial budgets and playing budgets and all sorts of things, I wouldn't like to put a price on what it costs the club to have team coaches to pick players up from here, there, and everywhere, and then take them up to South Shields on a Tuesday night, or Spennymoor, Darlow, Scarborough, Needham Market on a Tuesday night. There was another one as well. I mean, that's from here. That's a long way.
I think that South Shields one was rescheduled, wasn't it? So I think a few fans actually travelled up for the first one. And then heard it got called off and then had to go back up again, which was a shame. Yeah.
Rescheduled for a Tuesday night. And you can tell that the league, they ain't really bothered, are they? Just want the fixtures played, and that's what they're there for. They put it in place. But look what's happened now with the National League, and there's 3 very southern clubs coming down and just AFC filed. That's going to be interesting to see who they put in with us.
Yes.
Looking at Gloucester, Merthyr, possibly Merthyr, Tidwell, in where they are. Draw a line across the map. They're not far away from where we are, really. So
no. I think they'll definitely be in our league. Yeah,
I do. Along with Gloucester, if they, get up.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, absolutely.
Reg, do you want to? I know you've done some amazing work with Hereford, Sierra Leone, which is unbelievable. Yeah. You've taken the mission everywhere, which is really incredible. But how's that started then, and how is the team doing?
They've come on massive. The best person to talk to is do one of these with Abdul. His name's Abdullah Kamara. His name's Seema now, because obviously the religion sort of thing. They've come on massively. Yeah, they started as a nothing. Got left in the doldrums and what have you, and we were flying at the time. Did a kit collections and balls and boots and tackle and training gear and masses and masses of stuff. I managed to get a guy who sports Hereford, lives in Bristol, works for DHL International, to ship. It was probably half a container and it got held up in the port for, it's corrupt as they come over there. You probably know, the port authorities would have had a good old rummage through it before anybody else would have seen it, I would have thought. And they got all the stuff, and they got all the shirts, and then they branded themselves as Hereford, Sierra Leone. Obviously, that's where Mustafa Bundy comes from, in Freetown. And look at him now, look at what he's done. It's just wow. From those days when he, was at Hartbury College to being headhunted now by championship clubs who've seen him play for Plymouth, and he's a standout captain for Sierra Leone international side now. He's jumped miles in front, and there's other players following him as well. There's one at Watford, Idris Kanu as well, and there's quite a few players. And these guys are coming on the scene. There's another guy, Abdullah's brother, is a very good player. He played for high up, won the Sierra Leone Premiership last year, and he went to a training camp in Dubai, and he's now been signed up by a club in Serbia.
Right.
They've all come
Yeah.
through the same thing. This little academy has expanded from girls and under nines and all sorts of things, and they're producing and pushing their players in through Ghana, Egypt, and then training camps. Once they get seen, they go to places like Dubai. People are out there. They've probably got 300 to 400 players. They select some that they think could make it. Obviously, you can't just walk into the UK because you need the right passport. But by his brother actually going to play in Serbia, there's a good chance that he'll be playing for the national side pretty soon. And I don't know if you know this, but their under 20 side, so going back to their national team, their under 20 side thrashed Egypt last night 4-1. So they are on the up, definitely.
Well, who knows? We might see the new Mustafa Bundy coming through the Hereford Sierra Leone Academy and then running out on that beautiful green pitch behind Tom there. One day.
Is that the same bloke who's sat in the Blackfriars end at the moment?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Having a good look at Waitrose.
Yeah.
All in all, they have got I don't know, a dozen sides, probably more. They've got good sponsorship, all sorts of things. At the moment, they're trying to get a key, which is the same as a tuk-tuk, so they can get some business out of that, which raises money, which raises awareness, all sorts of things. Very different, Freetown to your average city.
I think you need to organise a pre-season match between the club and the academy. That would be a good away day. That get the bus going.
You like that? I'll tell you. I promise you. Yeah.
Brilliant. So bring it back to Hereford then. So sort of finally, before we move on to looking at this season, what was your favourite away day of the season?
Oh, Kingsley, 100%.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't beat them, we've been struggling against them every time we played them. They seem to have the upper hand on us and all the rest of it. And the goals were sublime, weren't they? They were great, weren't they? It's just the way it panned out, after they did put us under severe pressure, and to wipe the floor with them 2-0 on their own doorstep, and it was ace to sit in the seats, and they're a very kind crowd up there. I've got to be honest. I mean, they're a bit rose tinted glasses, but full on. And for some reason, they don't like us one bit. So that goes for the rest of the country as well. By the way,
what we've done. No, absolutely. So obviously, look, let's talk about this season. All of us in on this one. So sort of let's talk some stats. So obviously we finished 10th, 76 points. That's our highest ever points tally. We won 22, we drew 10, and we lost 14 with a goal difference of plus 17. Now that's our best goal difference by a mile. We had the 8th best home form, the 8th best away form. Our top goal scorers were obviously Cisse with 11 in the league, Jaden White 9, Andy Williams 9, Ramey Campbell 6, and Babos 5. Just off those stats, let's think about the goal scorers. Is your top goal scorer having 11 good enough for a side looking to get promoted?
No. Not when you look at what other teams have got. The lad at Kiddie there, he's banged in 33. You could go on. You look at Tom Pearce at Chester, and we could just go on and on. They're all banging in 20 plus. So, and we haven't. Well, I'm going to say this, but Jason Cowley pre-season looked absolutely fantastic. fit as a fiddle, ready to go. I think a lot of people thought, "Ooh, we've got some guy on our hands here," and he does still look it. When you're a young man, you have 2 children and a job and all the rest of it, and you're playing football as well. There's a lot of pressure there. Understand that. He is a good kid and he is a good footballer, very good. And I think, just my own opinion, playing Starbridge, who he used to play for, 2 days before we played Aylesbury, who are direct competition and do not like Starbridge, as they are like 8 mile apart or whatever they are. I reckon, somebody targeted him there. The left back wiped him out, didn't he, down in that corner, and that done half his season. That he never came back from it. Game before at Starbridge, he looked like, wow, we are going somewhere with this boy, and the scoreline predicted that,
Yeah. So would you so you would say that you'd keep him?
100%. I think he will come good. If we let him go, he will go somewhere and he will come good. You have a look at the players who we released and how they've come good here, there, and everywhere. You only got to look at Tamworth. There's a few there. You look at Kiddy. There's 2 or 3 there, and we release these boys. We let them go. Look what they're doing. Or we had the chance to keep them. And we have done that. People forget that we release players and they become better players. Or, Tamworth are still part-time, and they've got a full-time manager in Andy Peaks, who was being headhunted by Boston there. And he said, "You give me full-time employment and a proper wage, I'll stay here." And I think did they finish 10th? Or they got 1 game to go, but they're 10th. I'm sure they're 10th.
Yeah.
9th or 10th. They're only 4 points off of playoffs or something. And they're part-time. So we can't really, have any gripes about a side that gets, 1,100 fans and part-time, and they've got a few of our ex-players who've really shone. And we've missed out on that opportunity by jumping the ship and passing them on.
What were your particular reflections after the Scunthorpe game on Saturday? Obviously disappointing not to have made the playoffs after that.
I was not there. I wasn't there the last game.
Oh, okay, but just in terms of general, just seeing the result, just seeing we just missed out. I mean, how do you feel? Do you feel we weren't good enough to go up at this time? I mean, do you feel disappointed? Where are you kind of feeling? What are you feeling at the moment?
I'm not really disappointed because, like you said, I think you're speaking the truth there, that we're not good enough to go up. And if we did go up, as fans, if you go up, look at when we got promoted in 07-08 at Brentford, all the glory and all the fantastic and all the rest of it, and then the season after we got battered. We were it, and obviously the crowds dropped then, and there's nothing to look forward to. You're just going to go and watch your team get pasted week in, week out, and that's what happened. We finished bottom, came down, never recovered, bang, liquidation eventually. It was a downward spiral, wasn't it, massively from there to there. So if you go up, I think you need, I hate to say it, but like Tamworth have done exactly, they've gone at it proper gung-ho and gone for it. They got a method of what they do, and they've got a style of football. I beg to differ on what we've got. If you have that, like Graham Turner played a particular style of football, and it could get beat. It could get beat, but it could come to you and give you an absolute shock, as Leeds United found out, and teams like that. And he was the master of finding loanies. I can't off the top of my head. I think we loaned out Lon Lanesworth because he was thinking about going to Watford. In came Gary Hooper, Sergio McDonald, Theo Robinson. Gary Hooper went berserk, 19 games, 11 goals. Sergio McDonald banging them in. Theo, just unbelievable. What a season. So memorable. But when we got there, we couldn't compete, which was really sad, because I think, if we could have retained, you saw what happened to Gary Hooper and what he's worth now and where he went, Celtic, Norwich, and you've seen Theo Robinson and Sergio McDonald went abroad. I think did he get his Cercle Bruges? Was it, I think, Club Bruges or Cercle Bruges, one of those. So you could see, Mr. Turner has got more than an eye for a player. I can't sing his praises highly enough. A bit like John Sillett when he walked into the job, how he took it on from Addison. Now he, took us up like that. It was phenomenal. And again, we got to our level and we couldn't compete again there because people see once you're if clubs fail, then you're easy pickings. That's what you have a look what Cheltenham did. Cheltenham saw what was really good at Edgar Street and poached it as soon as possible when we hit bad times.
Yeah.
You mentioned,
I think this is...
Sorry, Tom, go.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, I think, this is the problem, isn't it? We've got to be careful money-wise, that we don't put too much out and don't get the end product, because, it is one thing going up. And I think in order to stay up, we would have to sign some players, just whether it's part-time or whatever, but, and we would have to pay for that. We don't have a rich benefactor. So how do we, and we've got decent crowds at the moment, they would drop off.
Did you say we don't have a rich benefactor?
Well,
wow.
Prepared to necessarily put the money in that's required then.
Yeah, we do have rich benefactors. I think football is an absolute bottomless pit. So once you get involved in it, you can just throw the whole lot down, and it's gambling, isn't it? You only need that guy you signed for, and then he gets injured, and then you start again. You got to find somebody else, and all that money that you put in there, the fans soon forget that. It's a balance, and it takes time. But at the moment, when you could see that momentum, like going back to Graham Turner era, trying to get back in the league, 202 to 206 was a gradual progression of getting back in the Football League and stopping there, which is difficult, as we've seen with other clubs. Everybody, Carlisle have gone down again, and Barnet have gone back up again. It's and there's a lot of clubs who've taken real big punts and gone shooting up. There's a bit of a pattern. If somebody finishes bottom of League One, then the year after they're bottom of League Two and they're struggling. In fact, look at Morecambe. Morecambe's a prime example. But there has been a lot of other clubs in the past, Barnet being one as well, and hopefully Shrewsbury.
Be good, wouldn't it?
I'll get that in.
Reg, you mentioned Graham Turner spotting some good diamonds, and Tom touched on our top scorers. Who do you think Caddis should be really tying down for next year? Who's really stood out for you from this last season?
Who would I tonight? Tonight he's meeting.
Yeah. Who would you want to see kind of tied down?
He's probably watching this, isn't he? Most of the squad. Yeah. I think there's 4 or 5 needed. Let's not individualise people, because I think that's really a bad. Obviously you said somebody at the start of the season sort of came out with a quote that Willow and Cowles was taking up 40% of the budget. Nobody actually came forward and said, yeah, they are, Is that hearsay rumor? Blah, 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 it spreads, people would have to take a cut on that defo if they. I think Andy would probably drop down anyway now after this season, possibly. I don't know. as I say, Jason Cowley, I think if we release him, I think he'll go somewhere, get fit, and boom, he'll come back to haunt you. Because I think he's still got something to prove big time.
Yeah.
He's still got it, mate. He's what, how old is he? 25, 26?
Mm.
You know, strikers go through that vein, don't they? They couldn't buy a goal, then all of a sudden they'll smash goals. Look at some of the goals that we've conceded this season. They just, pathetic. Some of it. Yes. The position of the goalkeeper, we haven't really had anybody concrete in goal since Brandon Hall. Although I do like Paul Caddis and his ways of trying to get it. His conveyor belt thing, I think that's good, because if you're not good enough and you come in and you get trialed and you get your chance, and you just get binned. Football is a nasty business, and to get somewhere you do have to keep axing players and bringing in different people.
Yeah,
it's ruthless. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think looking back over the season, there were plenty of good days for Hereford. I mean, when you look at the first home game against South Shields, winning 3-0, that's a great result. We looked like a good side, we looked like a good team, and then not long after, obviously Southport away, Brackley away. So how it's obviously a good start, got us all excited. But how would you sum up that sort of the beginning of the season anyway?
I'll tell you straight. Okay, straight after the South Shields, our first away game was Chorley, and that felt like. I think everybody walking away from that felt like that was a bit of a defeat or a bit of a drop points big time. I don't know if you guys were there, but
yeah.
We sort of rode a luck, come out of it, had quite a few chances, and then there was only one winner then, and then obviously we were 1-1, nice finish by Rosie, and then Willow's tame penalty. We should have had somebody step up and just blast that in. That would have been another 3. There was a few like that. Alfreton away, my goodness, I don't know what was going on there, but again, Rosie in there, snipped in, goal. No matter how many times you watch that back, he wasn't offside. There's no infringements. We should have won there. I don't like the old cliche, it pans itself out over a season. I think that's garbage. It doesn't. Yeah, but on the other hand, we had some real cock-ups at home, didn't we? Losing to Oxford City, Coventry, and Needham Market. Oh God, we lost to 3 of the bottom 4. You can't do that. If you're going to go up and you're going to be a decent side and good side, then you can't get beat by the bottom 3 of the bottom 4.
The Reading game away was quite hard, wasn't it, to take when we were 2-0 up?
Coasting. Yeah, absolutely coasting. Perhaps we got a bit cocky, bit arrogant, I don't know, but I don't know about you guys. I mean, your opinion would be great as well. I mean, I can't stand 3G pitches myself. It's just a little bugbear. I can remember when QPR first had one, then Luton had the plastic pitches way back in the 80s, and I think it's all unnatural and a real bonus to the own side that has that surface.
I'm not a fan.
It's not like playing on grass.
No, definitely not. So the not so good games then, Reg. We were alluding to just a second ago. I mean, you got Radcliffe home and away. We got a point off them. A lot of goals scored in those games. As you said, Needham Market at home, Chester away 3-0. I mean, yes, Chester were good, but we had it really. It's those types of games as well where we might not necessarily win them. Fair enough, because you're going to come up against better sides. Sometimes you just are, but it's the performance as well for me. Sometimes,
Yeah. Chester away. That was That was terrible. Yeah. I think they scored after 30 seconds, didn't they?
Mm.
Yeah, they were on the back of real poor run of results, and then they you know, after that they sort of turned their whole season around after they battered us. Perhaps they had belief after that, and everybody talks about being in a false position and all this sort of, but we've all got to play the same sides. You've all got to play the good and the bad. So yeah, it's I don't know. I can the playoff final. I think it'll be Scunny versus Kiddie myself. I don't know about yourself. After the sides, what I've seen this season.
Mm. Yeah, it probably should be, shouldn't it? But it's how yeah, one-off games are just anybody's sometimes, aren't they?
Penalty.
So,
It goes to pens.
Who would
yeah,
you
well,
both
yeah.
rather go up so we don't have to play next year?
What's that?
Who would you both rather get promoted so we don't have to play them in the league next year? Personally, I hate to say it, I don't want to play Kiddie again, to be honest with you.
Don't you?
It's pretty
Okay.
horrific this year, isn't it? But no, I'd rather play them, I think.
Really?
Because of the result, but there again, you see, I mean, that the crowd wise, it's fantastic for the club
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
because of the money.
yeah,
You know, on Boxing Day, we had just a couple shy of 5,000 people.
yeah.
Well, that's good revenue. That.
That's a good point.
Um, but saying that, with looking what Gloucester might come back, that was good revenue. Macclesfield will be good because that's like old football league uh, fixture.
Mm.
That should bring in a decent revenue. Um, yeah, it is. The more you think about it now, the more you're putting it in my mind that going up, that driving down the motorway early hours this morning, I see Torquay United's bus, and I'm thinking, oh wow, you know, that would have been a good fixture. Torquay, Truro, Carlisle, Oldham, Southend. You could go on. There's 10 gates in the next league up, which Hereford would pull 3,500 to 4,500 fans.
And for the
Probably,
London Bulls, there's a good 8 or 10 clubs that we could easily get to
yeah.
logistically. This league hasn't been kind to us for travel.
No, because it's all up north
Yeah.
and stick of pie and gravy.
Yeah.
Toby Carvery. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does spoil it a bit because I've been used to all the Rochdales, the Hartlepool and the Torquays and the older shots and all. So it never got boring because following in the football league back then, you were going up and down the country, so it was a big difference. And there is these days. There's a
Yeah.
big difference.
Mm. And I think it helps players as well, player recruitment from our point of view, because obviously we're having to train in Birmingham essentially because to try and get players, I mean, obviously Hereford is a long way out of the way anyway, but it would be better to be in a league where it's a bit more over the country. You referred to obviously revenues. We didn't have a great run in the cups this year, which is a massive, massive loss of revenue, really. When you look at the previous 2 years, obviously we got to the first round um, against Pompey and Gillingham. So, how much, obviously we all know about how good the FA Cup can be to clubs and to us specifically, but yeah, how much do we probably need a good run next season in the cup anyway, just to try and just tilt
It's
the money the right way, really.
it's massively important, isn't it? The cup.
Mm.
It is to us. It's tradition as well. Hereford. You mentioned Hereford, and it doesn't matter where you are. You could be on any planet. You mentioned Hereford straight away. People are into you like a dose of salts on the old Ryan Bradford team. Hopefully they're in a Geordie, and it's true. It's true. If somebody sees your club badge and you're sat in a boozer or wherever you are, somebody sees you wearing that, then that's a talking point straight away. And the clubs, you go back through the years of when we were, on our backside in 1982, moneyless and all that, we managed to get through to play Leicester City, and got a 10,000 odd gate. And a young Gary Lineker, Larry May scored. We lost 1-0, and then Arsenal, and then Spurs, Man U, Forest twice back to back, really quick. Then Spurs again, and then even the likes of when we went non-league, getting one back over Brighton by beating them. That was, that put some smiles on some faces. And then to beat Shrewsbury, a local A49 derby down at ours, and we were non-league and they were like League One or whatever, And we gave them a stuffing, courtesy of Ryan Bowman and so on. So, every year the FA Cup special. And it did used to be a great occasion to go to your Yeovils and Wokins and Tranmere. That was a fantastic day out. That was a real go at it game. No goals, and all of a sudden, bang, 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 bang. 4 goals in not many minutes, and it was fantastic. And the replay, and then go on, and then we played Cardiff City. Of course, Cardiff were, top flight club, and
got to the final that year, didn't they?
Yeah, they played Portsmouth in the final, was it? Yeah. So they did. In the 4th round, and we narrowly missed out there. We lost 2-1, but again. Like you say, good revenue. Get to the 4th round, and then a couple of quid in the back pocket, and a few bob off of BBC or whoever. It's serious revenue, isn't it? So to get a cup run, puts you in negative with the league. You playing catch up, but I'd rather be playing catch up than going to the FA Trophy final where you win about 60 grand. Well, it's not to be scoffed at, I know, but 60 grand in the scheme of that football club behind you is not.
Yeah, definitely.
I was hoping KD was going to step in there and say that his mum and dad are selling up and they're going to buy the club.
The J-Mart Arena. Forget the M&M Arena.
What we need, mate.
That's the one. Reg, I know you said you don't want to single out individuals in the squad, but it's hard to not look at the impact of Sammy Robinson's injury on us. He's been such an influential player, one of the London Bulls player of the season. And do you think that had a big impact on the kind of final run-in? Do you think, him missing from the squad in a few games really kind of impacted our confidence in the way we played? What was your reflections on him?
Yeah. He's a terrier, and he shuts you down. He's good. He plays the press really well, and he takes players with him. He's a good influence. A battler. He puts himself on the line. One player we got rid of was Luke Ames, who was, went from a midfielder to a centre back, and he wore his heart on his sleeve. Very good. I thought he was going to come through big time. I thought we were going to keep him. I know he's just won everything, wiped the floor with the board and everything else, scored goals galore, and he down at Chippenham. He is very, very similar, but from the back. And I know that Sammy can play all over the place. Another real, we got to keep hold of him. Yeah, he'd be no disrespect to all the rest, but he'd be first on my team sheet without a doubt. Yeah. Just the way he plays the game. He sees stuff before other players realise what he's doing. Mm-hmm. That high press, that line, that winning the ball, just that little foot in the, and Tate's the same. Tate has got it. Tate, it's in that locker room. It's unleashing it. And Sammy playing alongside him, he gave him that. You saw how Tate, when he went forward with the ball, he's hard to get the ball off. He's got hell of a shot. He's, look at Buckley. Game's over. He finds some long busting run from nowhere, plays a little 1-2 with tilt, pulls the keeper out and whacks it in the bottom corner for a winner. They were another jinx to us, weren't they, Brackley? And we they've been promoted as champions, and we dome home and away.
Yeah.
It's we actually we beat Kings Lynn home and away as well. We scored at home, and that was wiped out for something strange, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember if it was, I think it was offside they gave. I mean, about 10 yards onside. But anyway,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you talked about it earlier in terms of these things right themselves during the season, and we probably didn't have enough of our share of good luck. Um, I think I was talking to someone before the Scunthorpe game, and they were literally saying that. Let's hope we get some luck today because, and then obviously get into the playoffs as a result of that luck, because
Yeah.
because
The playoffs would have brought us again. If we'd have finished fifth.
Mm.
You think about the revenue we've all got to pay. They stamped and just said, "Look, tell you what, any adult, anywhere, 20 quid in the ground, concessions a tenner, kids 5 a tenner, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're into 5,000 people paying. That's wonderful revenue in it to start next season, even if you do get beat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to money, doesn't it? The whole thing. So that's expecting the game at J Mart Arena.
Yeah. Let's triple the sponsorship, shall we?
I'm still waiting for a beer off him. That small bloke on here, groveling for a pint.
Publicly calling it like yeah, I mean, I think that obviously, money is massive. It's interesting, obviously, squad builder. I think Darlington got 180,000 in theirs. Is
They got a serious
do you
problem
like
there.
these things though?
Even if they did really well, Darlington,
Mm.
their issue there is the ground. They're in trouble, Darlington.
Mm.
They need a new ground.
I mean, what else would you do in terms of trying to get more money into the club? How do you think the club could get more money in without, again, someone specifically a benefactor putting money in?
You only live once, you're only here once, tell them. You're only here once, guys. Just fund some money in that pot and get the club back in the National League. That's, I don't know, I think it'll be sustainable then. I think we can, I'm not saying we're going to go straight in the Football League. It doesn't matter if it takes 10 years. But I do think that the gates have improved dramatically, obviously, this year. And I think with the excitement to the end of the season, we've all seen that. We've shot up from like 2,500 to 4 and 4 plus. And, I think that's there. It's in the locker room. I get regularly asked by people, where's all these extra people coming from if we have a temporary stand at the Black Friday? The folks are there. You've only got to look at the past. FA Cup game, Turner era, Woking replay home, 8,500 people rocked up. Just under 8,000 against Tranmere, and these kids today, they didn't see it. They've never seen it. So how can they comment and say, "Oh, we only get 2,000"? And you do until someone comes along. We took a massive following to 1,308, I reckon. Yeah, right. Yeah, but Kitty. The crowd 5,341. That's a mega crowd for Kitty. That.
We took numbers to Oxford, didn't we? I think over 1,000.
Sorry?
Oxford City.
Yeah. So the support is there for a club that really does need. I don't know what the budget was when Josh Gowling was there. And Josh, really, really nice guy, seriously has got an eye for a player. He knows good players from bad players. Higher budget, I reckon. He's currently Coventry City's under-21 manager, and he's got some good players there. There's a few people who go on away days who go and watch football wherever it is, at any time of the day. Certain lad who I know the other week, he was down at Watford versus Bournemouth. Coventry City under-21s, they watch under-23 Blues, and all this sort of stuff, and League of Wales. there's players out there galore um, that really, and Paul Caddis is an ex-Blues, Birmingham, probably one of the richest clubs in the country right now.
Mm.
With their backer and what they've got. Let's get under their wing. Let's get in there. Let's get a couple of their under 23s, under 21. There's some boys there that are very, very good. That'd be good to pull those because we can't afford players of that nature. We haven't got that sort of cash.
Yeah. Caddis doesn't seem to like loan players too much. That's my impression. He doesn't bring
Yeah.
that many in, I think there's a few opportunities this season where we could have maybe brought in a loan player from one of those types of clubs. Um,
Yeah.
and we didn't. And okay, I know the deal's got to be right. We may not have had a lot left in the budget at the time, or he maybe wanted to keep looking for a permanent player, and I can understand that. But next season, I think he's got to utilize that, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah, we got no. I don't know whether we got any scouts or whatever, but we do need to get more people out there, get more people watching, especially locally. There's a lot of stuff locally. We've always had good players. Look in the past, you Kevin Sheedys and look at Gerald Bowen. What? If we hadn't gone out of business, we'd have been money rich now. You think about it because Gerald Bowen, what's he worth? 80, 100 million quid.
Could be, yeah.
Captain of West Ham, plays for England. Wow. Clucas, who's another one who had several transfers in the top flight. He probably transferred for at least 40 million quid here, there, and everywhere. All them bits and pennies, all tot up if you've got a little salon clause. Them folks are still out there.
Yeah.
And we do lose players at the moment. You've got Cheltenham on the doorstep, you've got Forest Green, you've got all these Newport and all the rest of it. And the next thing is you're reading something and it says born in Hereford, went to school in Hereford, now he's playing for the come on. What's going on?
Yeah. So I want to ask about Paul Caddis, the man himself. It's been a good couple of years in terms of progress. Do you think he's been a bit of a breath of fresh air since he's come in? It feels like there's a bit more of a connection between the fans and the club since he's come in, and since we've entered this league, actually. But what's been your assessment of his 2 years so far?
Me, personally?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put myself the cards on the table. It's been a good season. This season's been good. It's been interesting. It's good, and it really was disappointing for a lot of people right at the death there to finish 10th when we all wanted a playoff spot. The disappointment's there. You support Hereford, you get used to disappointment year on year, or finishing 17th for about 20 seasons and or whatever it was. But yeah, he has. He's brought in some good players. And I like his situation of the revolving door, that he gives you a chance. Your Matawassas, your Tilt, on and on. And brings them in, gives them a go. If ain't going to cut it and what they're after, then, he lets them go. That's fair enough. And then he brings another one and give it. Look at Jaden White. What a player. Don't get showing this podcast to other people, for God's sake. He's class. He's got it. You can see that. You watch football enough to know at any level that when you get somebody like that, different managers, different skills, different approaches, nurture players and bring them on next level. Jaden White's a good player. He's class.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't have him for longer, isn't it? We didn't have him from the start of the season.
Yeah.
Whether that would have made enough of a difference.
Jason Cowley, a fully fit Jason Cowley at the start of the season. I'll still say it now, and I swear by it, that he would have hit us 20 goals. He looked the machine in pre-season until the 27th of July. Yeah.
I mean, I think, like Kaylee, I think we all wanted him to succeed and score this season when he came back. Obviously, he's going through that great. You know, he's been unlucky with injury both times, both seasons.
Yeah.
He was injured in pre-season last season as well as this. So, but and it's not his fault particularly. But then, how long do you sort of? Because if you haven't got you're paying for someone, doesn't matter whether it is 40% of the budget or not.
Yeah.
If you're paying for someone who is injured, or you're paying for someone who hasn't scored goals, no matter what the reason,
Yeah.
and it's a striker, is that a hard sell, do you think, to the fans, or is it a case of if Caddis
Yeah, it
does want to
is.
keep him, you've
Yeah.
got to
No,
say,
no, it's a
take
hard
the
sell
fleet.
to the fans. You've hit it,
Hmm.
nailed it on the head straight away.
Hmm.
The fans want entertainment for the money that they can prepare. There are people out there, and if you said to them, say, a season ticket's XY 400 and something quid, you said, look, you want a bit more success. Come on. Forget the builder, cash builder and all that. People will be prepared to lob 500 quid. They're not worried about that.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people like that who definitely want to see the club. I think a lot of people, including myself, would be happy to get in the National League, because I think it's not just the travelling, it's not just the up and down. It is more like the Football League, because there's more and more Football League clubs coming in there, obviously, and down to our level. It's just, where we went out of and where we want to get back to. It just feels like you've got back to where we were in 2014, which would be an achievement in itself. So,
be massive.
I think Paul Caddis is the right person personally, but if he proves his worth, then he needs a bigger budget this year.
Yeah. I mean, he got a 5% increase last season, so fingers crossed they can give him a bit more than 5% this time.
Well, we got
when you talked about crowds before, the average has gone up again. We had some massive, massive crowds. We had hospitality every game this season, whereas we didn't last season. So that's got to be, and obviously it's pretty much full every time. These things have got to be bringing more money in generally. I think the fan zones were a good hit those last couple of games. I think people bought into that. So, do we need more things like that? More of those types of
every game. Yeah. When we went to Fleetwood in the FA Cup, I think that woke up a lot of people that don't go to regular football. I know you do, and I know KD does. And myself, and you see this all over, even right down lower leagues, higher leagues, and you take all the best bits out of all that, you add it all together and have a look at what fan zones can create and what they bring in and what people are prepared to pay and all sorts of things, different areas. And then, like Fleetwood, by the way, in the FA Cup, they had a live DJ for the game. They put on wonderful food to the left. And this side of it, they put on, and people were singing in the bar and drinking, and it's the revenue that it turns over and makes. And it works.
Yeah.
We just need to get rid of the cars outside and get a big marquee up there and, create an atmosphere. People like that. And then away you go. You're on it.
Yeah.
We've already got the crowds.
Just say for, all this revenue keeps coming in. We've got a great start to the new year with all the enthusiasm and stuff towards the back end of the season. It's a bit difficult to say because we haven't got a squad signed on yet. But how do you think we're going to do next year? Like, what's your kind of prediction?
What now?
Yeah.
No pressure.
It's the 1st of May.
Yeah. Come on. What we're thinking about next season, Reg. Come on. We're going to go up.
He's doing the right thing. He's getting the players in tonight. He's going to sit there. He's going to tell. I don't know. He's going to sit there and be ruthless and say, right, no good, no good. Get yourself gone. Right, we'll offer you this. We'll offer you this. We'll offer you that. And that's probably a good way of doing it. So you've got to make room because, look, honestly, if we'd got into the playoff final, we might have got a pasting again off one of the bigger sides. We've seen. You said you didn't want to play Kitty again. Look what they did to us. on Boxing Day, and 2 weeks ago that 5-1. Shit, that was embarrassing. That for the size of the crowd that went, no, everybody was just a bit blown away by that. I think that put a big damper on the last game of the season, to be honest, which was
Definitely
sad.
did. But you think about in that kiddie game away, again, they scored after 2 minutes,
Yeah,
and then they followed that up not long after with a second goal, and then the second half they scored within 4 minutes.
yeah.
That we needed to be, obviously it's hard, but we needed to be stronger. If Cisse hadn't have slipped, you don't know, we wouldn't have conceded that first goal. Uh, but would it have been a different result? Yeah, different. Maybe it wouldn't have been 5-1, but would we have still lost the game? Probably.
Well, football's chaos, isn't it? I mean, the week after they go to Southport, who we absolutely blasted. We could have scored a hatful up there. We won there 4-1. They go there and lose 2-1. The same side that battered us the week before. I can remember way back when I remember somebody put John Layton in charge, and he was giving players a late fitness test on Boxing Day behind Mansfield Town Stadium, and we lost 7-1. Right? Honest, it was unbelievable. And all the way home, doom and gloom, and we actually played the day after against Exeter City and beat them 3-0 with 5 changes. That's how mad football is. That's why I've never won the pool, or you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. I think
I can't comment seriously, being serious, on what we're going to do next season until we see who he keeps. And then I think he was like honest about he had first choice, second choice, third choice, or whatever. But if he gets all his first choices and he gets the money to get them, then I think season tickets will go up massively.
Yeah.
And that's an early one. When people start seeing that we've got him from there, and this is a really good time, by the way, because if somebody fails in the playoffs, then players are a bit easier to get once they've failed, and think, mind playing at Hereford. Look at the crowds they get. That'll be nice. And that's how you get them.
Yeah.
Good place to play football.
It is. I think we've got a lot of players as well who have played with other lads. I think the reason we got Remy Campbell was because of Gibson. Because he talked about how he enjoyed what he was doing at Hereford. Shame he left, but and I think that's a good thing for us as well.
He scored 2 goals in 3 games, Gibson, and he really looked the part. And just to quash all the rumours out there, people thought he went for money. He didn't go for money whatsoever. You're not going to leave to play in front of 400 people and get relegated, by the way. And they scored 50 odd goals, and he scored 22 of them, I think, or more. And now he's asked for an early release on his clause because somebody higher up the chain has come in for him already, which would be nice if it is us, because I thought he looked the real deal. And he is the strike partner of Remy Campbell. Yeah. So, you never know what them two could do on a, nice. And, it was a shame. And he moved for his work. If your work moves and you're going to lose your income and your revenue, and you've got children and all the rest of it, you're going to have to move with what you've been told. So, that's the way it is. KD, me and you, we knew each other around here, around Malvern, and your work is mainly in London, so you moved back to London.
Yeah.
That's the way it
The
is.
London Bulls, have you brought the work here?
Sorry?
So that's why we started the London Bulls,
Yeah.
As you said,
Yeah.
taking the work with you.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a really interesting insight, Reg, honestly. Like, really been good to chat to you, have you come on, like, reflect on the season, hearing about, some of the players that made impact, your thoughts on next year. The amazing work you do with the away days as well. Really inspiring stuff. Been good to see so many like new faces on there as well. Been really good to kind of see you guys rock up and then, chat to new people at different games. So well done on the service you provide. A lot of people do rely on it, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of youngsters coming now. That's really good. That is
Mm.
brilliant to see, I think.
Yeah.
That in the past, down the ages, you if you was like having a pint on match day at Edgar Street, you get off the train, you go to any given pub, it'd be full of shirts of every single club that don't support Hereford. And you'd mention, are you going down the ground? No. And now it's completely different. That more of the youngsters are wearing Hereford shirts rather than, your
Mm.
Cities, your Liverpools, your Man U's, your Forests, or whatever Villas. Yeah, so that's really good to see. From my point of view, I think it's great because it
Yeah.
gives the club a future. Um, and as them kids become, your age, middle age, then I won't say my age. Then it's natural progression. But we'll get a piece where they like what they're seeing and they like the product. That's what it's all about on a Saturday afternoon. If you're at school all week, you're at college, you're at work, you want entertainment. If you're going to pay this amount of money, you want entertainment.
Mm.
And there's a lot of places you can go anywhere, within Cardiff's down the road, Newport, Bristol, Brum. People from Hereford tend to go the opposite direction, like we just said. And there's loads of stuff there to go and see or watch or what have you. So Hereford has to be a good setup. You're gonna get your money's worth and enjoy it. Come 10 to 5, you walk out of the ground and feel as if you paid money and you're quite satisfied with the product what you get.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's an exciting future for the club. As you say, a lot of young people coming through, so that's great. Well, look, thanks, Reg. As Katie said, really appreciate it and great insight. So we'll just close up. Just to say to everyone that we had a raffle for Diabetes UK for a signed Paul Caddis t-shirt. Just want to say that raised £456. So thank you so much to everyone for buying tickets. And the winner's been picked. We're just contacting them at the moment. So sorry, it's been a little bit longer than we said in terms of getting the winner. But anyway, that's all good now. So we will hopefully get that on social media soon. We are in conversation with so many different people, so many ex-Hereford players and different different individuals around the club for podcasts coming up soon. So you won't get too bored over the close season. But we'll give you all probably a few weeks off now to enjoy, well, this weather if it continues. But yeah, just have a bit of a break. It's definitely not, no.
The way
Um,
it goes, Pete, Tom on Monday, Tom.
well, for the next couple of days at least. And yeah, obviously, hopefully another exciting season next season. Um, 10 more years, Paul Caddis. And yeah, I just thanks to everyone for listening and watching. Cheers to KD, obviously. Cheers to Reg. Thank you, mate. And we'll see you all soon.
Okay,
Cheers.
everyone. Cheers, Reg, as well. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.